You like that transition? Yeah. So anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. Month one, day 10, right? Month one, day 10. Really, like more like day 11 or 12, but we weren't streaming yesterday, and we weren't streaming on the first day. So anyway, however you wanna count it. Welcome. Good morning. I've had a couple upgrades over the weekend. You may notice that I've got a different camera in a different spot. So this is my. Is this dumb? This might be a little dumb, but I'm already doing it anyway. It's my nice, like, DSLR camera back there. Focus. Focus. So yeah, that'll be better for picture. I just completely goof this up, so I'm going to stop. Right, anyway, so we got a nicer camera. We picked up a kind of cheap, like, podcasting microphone over the weekend. So we got, like, better sound quality, marginally better sound quality compared to the microphone on my computer, so that's great. Yeah, so we're making little strides. It's kind of like incremental improvements to what we're doing here. So, yeah, that's all cool. Yeah. So let's start with the news from the morning. We've got people who are like interested in this thing. So one thing I hadn't done until maybe Wednesday or Thursday of last week was actually put Google Analytics on the blog, and it's a tool I've got a bit of a complicated relationship with since given you're adding this free tool to your website means that you're giving all kinds of analytics data to like Google along the way in exchange for information about traffic to your site. And there's other ways of like doing it which aren't Google Analytics related. There's stuff you can do with like server logs and other like Google Analytics alternatives. So I think it's probably likely that I'll switch over to something like that in the future, but for now it's like definitely the easiest integration possible, and definitely the easiest integration with Jekyll, which is what I used to make the blog in the first place. Yeah, so anyway, just to have a kind of moment of humble bragging, we wrote a second blog post, month one, week two, so that's available. Put that out yesterday, so you should check that out if you would like to, with a summary of week two's exploits. And so, yeah, I posted that to the Clojurian Slack channel and the Clojure subreddit, and man, I got like 190 visitors, which is like wild. I've had like a few websites over the years and a couple blogs and like various things I've done, and I've never had like that many users on any kind of website that I wasn't building for like a company or in some other like professional context. So yeah, I had a lot of people like come over to check it. I mean, I got like 4 users in the past 30 minutes, which is like crazy. So it's even like one day later and people are still like checking out the link and opening going to like read it. It wasn't like all from just like that one post and that like instantly disappeared. And yeah, the traffic sources themselves are really interesting. So like DirectNet, I think that must be from Slack, because I just like post the link directly. So I think most of my engagement comes from Slack, a little bit from Reddit, the Clojure subreddit, but then I saw this one, News Y Combinator. So Y Combinator has like pretty intense moderation, so I've never even attempted posting there since I think it would just get blasted away for self-promotion. But month Y Combinator. Yeah, we had just some like random like internet guy like post a link about the blog, like in Y Combinator. Only got 2 points, and it was 14 hours ago, so it didn't end up going anywhere necessarily. But I've got like strangers that I didn't, I don't know, and I didn't, send out in the world who were like posting links on my behalf. Did not think I'd be there in week 3, so that's like really cool. And there's like some tweets, some people on Facebook who are posting things which I haven't checked out. Baidu, I think that's a Chinese search engine of some kind. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that real quick because it's wild that I've got that many people who are interested in this thing. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, it's a tricky line to draw in terms of like, being like too caught up in that kind of thing, right? Because it's not about like popularity numbers or anything like that. Like that's not what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting to like build a product essentially. Build something that people want to use. But it's for what it's worth, it's just a really nice thing. We can close that, can't we? Stream's already started. Nice thing to know that like people are interested in it, and I got some ability to attract interested parties in this crazy distractible world. So that's nice. I really like that. Anyway, the plan for the day is to do battle once more with WebSockets. So just for a quick overview, last week we had a bunch of trouble with integrating WebSockets into the project. So what we're building is like a multiplayer game, and if you're going to have like multiple players connected to a game, and things like traveling instantaneously between the players of the game and like the server that's like hosting the game logic, then WebSockets is like a really good way to do that. So I know I should be using WebSockets. I've never used WebSockets before, and perhaps more to the point, I've never used WebSockets in a closure context. So I had a bunch of trouble last week with like actually getting those things like set up and integrated. So tried that for a couple days, didn't work. Went over to just like coding templates for the pages, right? So just like HTML and CSS work, and got pretty far with that. Got like most of the screens for the game coded out, and now they're all ready to be like hooked up to the game server. So I need to come back to the WebSockets again in order to do that. So it was good to like kind of walk away from it for a little while. Actually, I write about that in the blog post if you want to check it out. Listed up here in the failure section, front and center. What I wanted to try to do was like let it sit for a couple days, just so I could like kind of let those nerves like die down a little bit, but also to give my brain like a chance to just kind of reset and do the secret things that it does in the background, which make it possible to solve a problem that you're having like a lot of trouble with. So anyway, now that we've got some time and distance from there, I think I'll come back to WebSockets, and I think it'll go a lot better because I've got some ideas for how to do things differently. And finally, the mantra for the day. This is a shakedown cruise. So I've been getting a bit nervous of late about the progress I'm making. So I've got like 4 business weeks to build this out, right? Like I'm not working myself to the bone, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I've got 9 days left, including today, to actually like finish this thing, and I haven't like programmed a lick of game logic, which is pretty wild, if I'm saying so myself. But anyway, this is a shakedown cruise, right? Oop. Oh, hey Cliff. I think I need to change my chat because I can't see you because it shows up at the top. Good morning. Good to see you back in the chat, man. Hope you had a good MLK day. A little bit taller. We've had some stream upgrades, so now I've got a different layout for all my stuff. There we go, cool. I haven't actually chatted with this yet. WebSockets. Cool. Nice. Man, Restream's been great stuff. This is like a little chat module they do, so I can chat to people on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So it's nice. Anyway, welcome back, Cliff. WebSockets. Okay, it's nice after the holiday break. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about my mantra for the day, which is that this is a shakedown cruise. So I got 9 days left to develop this thing. Haven't touched a lick of game logic, but even if I don't finish it, that's okay, right? Because really what I've been doing is setting up a lot of like background infrastructure, which is going to be like super helpful for me going forward. And one of the things I wanted to show you before we actually start in with the development for the day is this Vagrant file I'm working on. So anyway, Vagrant, if you're not familiar, is it's a simple and powerful tool. So anyway, this is like a thing where you have like a Linux server and you've got a need to like set up that Linux server consistently the same way, like every single time, multiple times on like various different servers. And that's basically the task I have before me, right? Because I'm going to be doing 12 startups in 12 months. So each time I'm going to need a server for these to live on, and each time I'm going to like have to do all the same stuff every single time. So instead of doing that from scratch, which is a massive pain and can like sometimes take like literal days for me to set up, I put a little time into learning how to do Vagrant, which can do it for me the same way every time. So this is a really cool thing where you can like just kind of write like a bootstrapping like shell script to like have it like, you know, set up your server. So anyway, here's some SSH stuff. I don't think I actually need that anymore. But this will like install MongoDB for me and set it up correctly. It'll even take my like custom config that I wrote to run MongoDB with like standard config settings and just like copy it into the place where the config goes. So that's super cool. It will start up my firewall, enable like all the safe firewall settings, so I don't have just a bunch of open ports sitting around everywhere. It'll install Clojure. It'll install the Clojure CLI tool. It'll install this thing called Supervisor, which I'm using for like a process manager, since I'm going to have like multiple apps running on these servers at the end of the day. Also got into like self-signed SSL certificates. So another thing which like causes a lot of like kind of pain and torment is the fact that like you develop things locally and then you put them on the internet, which is like, you know, already kind of a big deal, since you're like going from one development environment to the other and things are just like inevitably different between them. But not only are you going from like your local development environment to a hosted production environment, but you're also introducing SSL, which is the thing that like gives you HTTPS, so that's like a secure connection to a website, which is like obviously a good thing, but it's like really easy to write server configuration code that does not work with SSL, and so things that like worked locally or even worked in production when you were connecting to the site over HTTP, once you introduce like SSL certs into the mix, that will break it. So now I can develop locally using HTTPS SSL certs, and so literally the only difference is going to be like it lives on the internet as opposed to my local machine. So that's going to save me a lot of time. This is Nginx, which is the server that like catches requests and like points them to your apps. And this is how you get your configuration and send it to Nginx and start your server. So anyway, I've been working on this for like a couple evenings after I'm streaming. And it all kind of gets back to the idea of it being a shakedown cruise. So I'd really like to finish this out by the end of the month. I'm getting a little bit skeptical that I'll actually be able to. But even if I don't, I've already put in like 2 weeks of work on the next app already, because I'll have the benefit of this Vagrant box, which is going to be huge. I'll have the benefit of knowing the language better. The next project I think will also use WebSockets after a fashion, so all the learning I'm doing now will be applicable to that. So even if I don't finish and like get something up in month 1, I'll already like be in a much better position for month 2. So if I think about that, I feel a little better. So anyway, this is a shakedown cruise. That's the mantra for today. All right, our loose agenda for the morning is to get WebSockets and that reagent example running again. So that was this thing that I copied from the Senti docs. Sent. I'll call it Sent. Sent with reagent and reframe. This is like a starter kit, since I was having so much trouble just setting up like WebSocket connection from scratch. So we're gonna get this running again. And we're going to remove all the reframe stuff. So reframe is like a kind of like a global state library, I guess you could say. If you're coming at this from like a JavaScript React perspective, it's like the equivalent is Redux. I'm pretty sure that's the pattern. So it's like another layer of complexity that I don't think I need just yet. Like, I don't think I'm at a point where the app is complex enough to really warrant the inclusion of something like reframe. So I'm gonna get rid of it and that'll make things a lot simpler. And then once we get rid of that, we'll be back in the domain of just calling functions, sending messages back and forth, as opposed to like having to do that on top of like all the reframe stuff, which makes it simpler in some ways, but not when you're working on the scale I'm doing. So once we can send a silly custom message from the front to the back end and from the back end to the front end, we'll be in a great position to start figuring out how to send game information back and forth. So that's the plan for the day. And secretly, we are actually already done with this. I'm trying to get some things done before I actually start streaming to make things a little quicker and snappier, just so I can jump right into it by the time I actually start. So anyway, that being said, let's move on to getting rid of reframe. We can close you for the time being. All right. And let's go. Okay, so this is the back end, and we want to get back to the front end. Great. All right. Example app, no. Example server, yes. Okay, Calva output, don't need that. All right. So here we are in the app. And the app, let's check my issue over here. Yeah, we're looking good. Okay. Let's just start deleting code, huh? I think events and subscriptions. Events, these are reframe events. Subscriptions, these are reframe subscriptions. So let's get rid of reframe. Let's get rid of these two modules. Great. So now we have the reagent library and the client. And the client is I think this is the code where we start the router. Yeah, this got a little bit of reagent stuff in there, I think, but this is mostly where we set up the WebSocket connection, and this is where we have our actual React page. Okay, cool. So, events, handlers, subscriptions. I'll keep these components around for now because I think we will have some code to copy and paste between them, but let's see what we can do. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this for the time being, comment it out for reference, and I know this hash thing. That's an anonymous function. I don't know this add thing. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what that is later. But for now, we can redefine it as when it is disabled. If it is disabled, I don't think I would need to do anything with that. Okay, onClick is going to be... I've never actually used this before, so let's try it. Printline percentage. So this is an anonymous function. What we could do is we could write it like this. We could do like a fun e printline e. So you could write it like that, but what you can do with that hash syntax is kind of take the argument that your anonymous function receives and transform it into this little percent sign thing, which allows you to nix the actual function definition, this little like shorthand thing, and yeah, just makes your code a little shorter and nicer to read. So I've seen that used before. I don't think I've ever actually used it myself, but let's experiment with it. Alright, so our connect button does not have any more reframe stuff. That's good. Okay, our next part is this push count business. So is this even running anymore? Right, so I guess what we're doing is like we're having the server like push things to the front end, like every like 5 seconds or something on the back end server. This thing is set up to increment a counter by 1 or something, and then when the counter is incremented, that ends up on the front end. So that's a reframe thing, but for the time being, let's just see if we can like remove it all entirely. And then get it back gradually. Alright, so here's this push count variable defined as 1. We're going to give back a div with the push counts, connect button, and this P with some text. Def init. That's a init function has me a little bit confused. Where does that actually come from? Or rather, where does it go to? Define init. I don't really know how that's being called, but the only thing in there is the reframe dispatch that we need to worry about. So how about we just get back to, we just trust that someone somewhere is going to call that and continue on. Okay, so we've got sent, we've got the handlers. The handlers we can keep. This is not reframe, except for this thing where we dispatch this app increase event to our reframe database. So we can copy that out, and eventually we'll just like, instead of dispatching that, we'll update some kind of state thing. trpal says shadows cljs.eden question mark. Yeah, I don't I don't know too much about this thing. If you're asking what this thing is, this is a I think a method to run a ClojureScript app and have some kind of like hot reloading capability. So there are like many Clojure build tools. So there's Line Engine, there is Clojure Boots, there's CLJ, CLI, there's Shadow, CLJS. Oh, it should have mentioned in the init, right. You weren't asking what it was, but it should have a mention of the inits. Oh, okay. Ah, nice, okay. So when we actually run this app, that is the function that we run. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I would have never thought to look there. Cool. Okay, so that's what that is. I appreciate that. Right. Where were we? We're at these handlers things. That's the only reframe thing. This is like all reframe stuff. We can safely ignore that file. Events. That is for updating global states when an event is received. I think we can ignore that. And I think that we're all good, right? Is there any reframe stuff that's remaining? Don't think so. Okay, cool. All right, front-end build completed, 208 files. And Kramer42 says, also you can use NPM packages that way. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, right? So if your app depends on NPM in any fashion, then Shadowseal.js will also do that. All right, cool. So I think we've finished getting rid of reframes successfully. We don't have any error messages anymore, but now we have to go through the process of hooking this back up to WebSockets. But first, we need to mark our ish as done. All right, reframe successfully removed. I think I'm probably gonna need it at some point, especially if I'm like building a bigger project, but this is too much complication and novelty for a Clojure developer in his third week of using the language, so we're not going to use it for now. Great, but now I have the task of figuring out how to get my WebSocket connection back, which I think is going to be a good thing to research in our old reframe stuff. Okay, so did a little bit of reading on WebSockets. I know ID is like the ID of an event, so WebSockets is all about like sending events back and forth, and each event has an ID, and when an event has an ID, which is like, just a string or like a Clojure symbol or something, that is how you know what to do with it. So the ID is like the event itself. The data is any data that comes along with the event, so strings, objects, JSON, stuff like that. And not sure what that event is. I think that might be something extra on top of like these two things, which are the most important. Oh no, the data is that's an optional thing. So the ID in the event, that's what we need. Okay. So that's how we get the keys out. Yeah, I think client is going to be where we want to look for this. State watcher, create clients. Great. Stop router, start router. Handler is event message handler. Ah, right, okay. This is the function which actually receives a WebSocket message. I remember that from the video I watched. So what we can do there is we can move this function. Yeah, I guess we could keep it in here. It doesn't really hurt. Event message handler. Def multi. This is something I need to learn about. So this is something called a multi-method. Just kind of like functions with like prototypes attached to them from a JavaScript perspective, but don't really know how to use them. Defaults. So that's where that log's coming from. Oh, that's one. There's a whole like WebSockets panel over here we can use. It will show us the messages that we're getting. Response filter messages. Okay. So I'm pretty sure if we come here, while we still had like the reagent stuff here, we would have seen those like push messages coming back. Connect Oh, no, we got rid of that function, didn't we? Okay, so now we need to figure out, this is where we're going to go when we need to debug whether this stuff is working or not. And now we need to, just figure out how to like log this stuff. Okay, handlers, event message handler. Let's not define logger. Just log things to start. Print line string. Are we connected? And how about the ID of events? Alright, so now we're just trying to log all this stuff. ID and the event. Alright. So we start the router. Go back here, we refresh, and we've got, oh, hello. So that's what we sent, that's what we got back. These are pings, okay, these are pings to the WebSocket server, so that's not actual messages, that's just little like signals back and forth to say like, hey, are you connected to me? Yes, I am connected. Ah, it comes with a little timestamp, that's cool. Cannot sort on those fields, but it's good to know what happened when. All right. So I think that means that we got a successful connection, which is good. Boy, what am I even trying to do? So before we were dispatching this event called app connect. Handlers, subscriptions. Man, really? No examples. There we go. That's events CLJS, dispatch app connected true. And we call this client start function. Okay. Client start. So it means we're not starting our client side WebSocket connection. Client start. You create the client and start the router. Yeah, really? Pinging and ponging, so I'm a little dubious that we haven't started this router yet. Let's include router start, server start. Oh no, this is the back end. Okay. I guess maybe we didn't start it. Alright, so I guess we need to require the client. Oh. Already got it here. Then we need to call the as clients. Well, actually, there's probably stuff in here being called. Right, okay, so I think we can do that here. Client function is called start, so create the client and start the router. Let's try calling that start. unresolved symbol starts, refer start. Alright. Building, build completed. Back to the browser, refresh. Probably don't really need to refresh. Okay. So now we got 2 connections. Remote replay. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. This was, I think this was, yeah. It's right there, isn't it? Okay, so we got like 2 WebSocket things we need to pay attention to. One is from Shadow CLJS. So this is the server that's actually running our React app right now. So that is things that are like enabling like hot reload and code recompilation. So that's what this is. And we've got some helpful logs up here that we can reference. But this is actually the the WebSocket client on our backend server. So yeah, we called that function, and yeah, now we're connected to it. So down means we're getting some broadcast, so that's the ID, and then the event is is there a better way to inspect these? Copy message. Just a copy paste job. Yes, there's the ID. It's just some broadcast. Here's the message, and it is a closure map, so an object if you're coming from a JavaScript perspective. What is this? How often? Every 10 seconds. To whom? A no user ID. Okay, so that's something I'm going to have to figure out too, because this starter kit is not actually like giving me like unique user IDs, which is something I'm going to need in order to determine who is who and figure out like what data I'm actually sending to what user in the app. But it's also going to be important for you know, placing users like in the right game. So I'm going to potentially have like maybe dozens. There are dozens of us, you know, dozens of people connected to this at a time. If it really takes off, maybe hundreds or thousands connected at a time, and they're all going to be associated with a particular game. So groups of users grouped into games according to game codes. So if they don't have a user ID, I can't do that. So that's something I need to debug. But anyway, we're getting broadcasts from the server. That's great, man. Start. It's not in keeping with the closure aesthetic. I'm going to give this a goofy function name just so I can remember what it is. Starts WebSocket stuff. Now we need to call it something different for start WebSocket stuff. There we go. Now we know definitively what that function is and what it does. Great. Okay. Let's check back what we're doing. Okay, so we got the connection, but now the task is to send some silly custom messages from the back end to the front end and the front end to the back end. So I think that's going to be a good place to start, and I'm going to move our send a silly custom message from the back end to the front end to the top of the list, since this is the thing that we obviously got working again. So now our task is to see if we can send a custom message, and once we can send a custom message, we're going to be in a good spot for actually building our game. Right, so here we are in the back end. I think I finally figured out how to use Calva for front end to back end development. So this is the front end code with a front end REPL running, and this is the back end code with the back end REPL running. So I think that's the way to do it. I think I read somewhere that that's the preferred method for doing this thing. Cool, so here we are on the server. Let's reacquaint ourselves with what is actually going on here. So here's the router. And this doesn't contain anything we're like very worried about yet. Okay. Handlers, that seems likely. Alright, so this is where we receive messages. This is where we set up our server. So socket is going to be the file we are concerned with, and indeed, this has got all the stuff. Alright. So that's where we're building our some broadcast message. We are looping every 10 seconds sending a broadcast. Alright. So last time I believe I attempted to write my own broadcast function. Which I'm gonna need eventually. Although now I'm wondering if I should just like customize this. Here's something to learn about. Less than exclamation point. Never seen that before. Yeah, anyway, let's not get so deep into that. Let's just see if we can like change this and have it work. A new ID. So I didn't reload that code, so I don't think I'm going to actually receive any of that. And just like a little bit shaky with REPL-driven development. Top 10 Calva commands. So I changed this function, and I think what I can do is I can like take this function and just kind of like add it over into like this REPL. So yeah, typically what I would do if I was developing like a JavaScript backend server is I would change the code something like nodemon, which is like a watcher script for like node servers, would see a change and then it would just like kind of restart my my Express server like straight away, just like load the new code, restart the server, and everything starts from scratch, and then you continue from there. But I think what I can actually do here is I can actually like make changes in this function and then like send it over into an already running REPL. This is called start example broadcaster, so I think I'll need to actually call the function again, but let's experiment with that, because I could do this like the dumb way with just stopping and starting the server, but it's going to be good for me to learn how to do it this way, because that's one of the big benefits of the language that I'm trying to get. So send to REPL. There are two commands for bringing over the current form over to the REPL window. CE, Control-Alt-C, Control-Alt-E. Alright. That current form. So if I just go to the end, CE. Oh, CE. Oh. Yeah, so it's like pasting it in there. Pasting it. Code evaluation, integrated REPLs, run tests. It's like the current form. Load current file, I've been using that a lot. Evaluate current form. Where is the thing to just like send the current form into the REPL? Getting started. Control Enter. Evaluating in a REPL window. Since REPL window is mostly just a regular file, things work. Alt Enter to evaluate. Maybe I just like evaluate the function. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now I need to start example broadcaster once more, I think. Main to many channel. Okay, cool. So will that now show up in our front end? Oh, hello. Oh, hey. Okay, so our old broadcaster is still running, so I need to like stop that, but that totally worked. We've got like a new ID here, and now it's like showing up just before some broadcast. So can I stop example broadcaster? Broadcast. Send. Yeah, here's something to learn. How to stop a broadcast once you've started one. So what does that function call? Alright, clients can use socket channel send to send events to the server. The server likewise can use socket channel send to send events to all the clients of a particular connected user. Alright. Send function. I think an API reference is what I want next. Changelog API. Here we go. Hey, this is going a lot better than last time, I tell you what. This comes from send function, which comes from make channel socket server. Make channel sockets server. Okay. Takes a web server adapter and returns a MAC with keys. A receiving function, a sending function, and some like long polling. Oh no, this is the upgrade function to upgrade it from HTTP to a WebSockets. And right. Make channel sockets send, channel socket disconnect. Man, I really wish they had done like SKCH for this library, because I get so confused every single time I read that as channel socket, but really if I was like saying that just normally it would be socket channel. Okay, send function. Channel receive send function. WebSockets channel. Closing a connection. Here we go. So I have to adapt this to our closure library and make some connections, which will not be handed to us, but that's what we've chosen to do. It's like the JavaScript side, so the browser side, but really what we want to figure out is how to stop a broadcast once we've started one. Send to this user ID. Channel socket server. Make channel socket server. Back to the docs. I don't think I understood this fully the first time around. Takes a web server adapter and returns a map with keys. Send function for server to user push. Right. So this does not return a function for stopping channel sockets. I don't know what this I is either. That's like prepended on a lot of like WebSocket stuff, but or a lot of closure functions and especially library functions. Channel socket protocol. Public variables. Since can be like print line since my channel sockets, what are you? No such var. Print line since. Unable to resolve symbols since. Are you sure? Man, sure seems like example backend sockets. Did I not load the file? Unable to resolve symbol. Example backend sockets. This is not going to work, but let's try it anyway. Oh, it did work. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. We have access to the functions on this library, but we can't just print the library itself to see what's available on it. That's quite odd. Alright. Yeah, more to the point, we don't have like access to this thing. Copy. There we go. Or do we? No more errors. No such var. So make channel socket server seems to be like on that same level, right? So channel socket disconnects. Don't think this is it, but worth a shot. Since channel sockets disconnect. Nope. Not available directly from Sent. Man, how do I call this thing? Spelled it right. Nope, I didn't. Still can't do it. What was that thing called? I channel protocol. Man. Public vars. Yeah, maybe I need to do this. I channel socket. No such var. But I can still do this, right? Make channel sockets. Yeah, that's cool. Very strange. My way of thinking. So this top level stuff is available to us, but we can't get to channel sockets. Yeah, let's read the rest of these functions, since we can obviously easily get access to these. Okay, start, set login level, server event message, version, make a server, event debug mode, send, reconnect, disconnect, channel socket disconnect. Yes, that'd be like disconnecting from a client, and that's not quite what we want to do. Or is it? Maybe that's like a private thing, and this is like the public method, or however you'd say. I get it, man. I can log some of these things and I can't log others. As sent. Alright, I've recorded this thing as sent, so that means that I don't just have like all the stuff available to me in the namespace automatically, but maybe one thing I could do is something like this. Now if I just get rid of like sent slash, I mean, all the functions from the whole library are just all available. Or I thought they would be. Man. Well, it's all a bit baroque to me, but I suppose start. if I can do what I was setting out to do, which is just send a custom message, then we're pretty much already there. So let's just get back to that and save this mystery for another day. Man, but we're still getting that thing. Well, mystery for another time. Mystery for another time. All right, so let's send like a custom message. Send that UUID. Def custom message. So it's gonna be like my custom ID. And then we're gonna say like, hey, check out this custom message we can send. Alright, so we started a broadcaster again, and now I think we're going to get a whole bunch of messages. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. We've also learned something significant. No emojis. No emojis in a WebSocket string, but yeah, cool. We got all kinds of messages which we're having problems turning off, but we did do this, which is send a custom message from the back end to the front end. Nice. Okay. So now what we can do is send a silly custom message from the front end to the back end. So yeah, that will require us getting back into our front end app. Okay, so, right. Previously, what we did was I think we only connected. I'm not sure were we sending anything to the back end before? Start WebSocket stuff comes from the clients. Send function, channel socket send. So it's on the back end, so we were never actually sending anything. Send function. Cool, okay, so now we get to do something evidently brand new. Back to the docs. All right. So something similar on the client side. Channel socket send API function. All right. So that's what we're going to use to send. And yeah, I guess we just call it something, see if it shows up. All right. So channel socket send. You choose a channel and an event. And here's like an optional callback as well. So that could be something where like, So when the server like receives it or acknowledges it somehow, you fire that callback. Returns true and apparent success. All right. So we need to call the send function. We need to specify the channel, and then we need to send it a message. All right. So the client for start WebSocket stuff, and we also want channel socket send. All right, so how about we do it when we when we click the button? All right, define tests send. Right. So channel and then message from front end. Hello, Major Tom. This is ground control. All right. So we have the function, we have our message, we don't have the channel. Where do we get the channel from? I think we probably get that from here. Channel sockets. Right, so we'll also refer that in the app. No bang. Cool. That's all we need, I think. Let's get this on a new line for readability. And let's go back to the browser. Well, let's also clicking button. Unclick. Fire that function. All right. Back here. Into the console. Oh boy. Connect. Or not. Clicking button. Channel socket send bang that call is not a function. So we didn't. Refer this, right? Did we not? Do we not reload the REPL? So we saved under card var, right? Channel socket send a message. So I think we got in our we like required it okay, but I think we're using this incorrectly. I think this is not what we think it is. Can we just evaluate it? It returns nil. Because it is nil. Starts out as nil. Yep, okay. Send function. Yeah, but it's the send function, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, if I'm being honest with you guys. Start WebSocket stuff. No available JS runtime. We're already calling that there, so I don't think we need to call it here. Really? It's not a function? Seems like it should be. Connect. Wrong window. So we're importing it. What is Oh, it's an object. It's an object, which is an atom, and the value. Ah, we have not. We've not done this. We need to reference it somehow with that like @ sign. So that says, "Hey, Adam, we want the whoa." There's a whole new set of whole new set of errors. Okay, so we called the function, but we passed in invalid event. Did that come from sent or did that come from closure scripts? Invalid event. Invalid event. I'm guessing that came from sent. So back to the docs. Channel socket send. Event and timeout milliseconds. Send events to the server. Some request ID. And let's just copy that for the sake of experimentation and try this once more. Connect. My spider senses are telling me that this is really a closure problem. But it wasn't. Valid event. Oop. Connect. What? Invalid event. I thought we got rid of the event part of that. Clicking button. Okay. So we have an invalid event. Okay, going on mute real quick. Sorry, guys. Oh man, so bad at updating this. There we go. Need to update. Want to change gears. Okay, so we've got the function. This is the right function. What we think it takes is a socket channel. But much like we did not include this @ symbol before, we did not include it here, so I think this was the missing piece. Yeah, really? Click and clack. Yeah, maybe what we should do is read this error message. Object message invalid event. Data description, file name, invalid event. Oh man, what a stack trace. Dirty takes. Dirty puts. Man, this looks like looks like it's coming from ClojureScript, but I think it must be coming from Sent. Uncaught exception. Valid event. Is it a missing dependency? Translate ClojureScript. Could be. We're using the same example project. Or maybe we're not. Configuring build, hooking up NRipple sections. Select which build to connect to browser RIPL. There we go. Hardly 10:45. Feels like I've been stuck on this problem for an age of the world, but really hasn't been that long, has it? All right. All right, we're back. Definitely still got that error. Have not come closer to fixing it. Ah, man, what's invalid about the event? I don't get it, man. Back to the app, not that window. Just a little space to breathe. All right. Yeah, we copied that from the docs. We used the @ symbol, which means we're accessing the value of the atom presume, correctly. Socket channel, the send function, both atoms. The state is not being used for anything. That. Debug. Alright. So that's a main channel, yes. A little bit concerned that these are objects, but maybe that's just part of the API. That's what I would expect, was that this would be like a function, for instance, but it's coming back as an object. So maybe a little research into atoms is going to be warranted here. Yep, that's how you access the value of it. That's correct. Cool. So we're accessing the values correctly. I'm pretty sure we're calling the function correctly. Nope. Send. Except we're not specifying a channel here. So is that it? Send. Oop, 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 oop. Do we get it on the back end? Do we get it? Do we have anything to receive it on the back end? We can't figure out if we sent it if we go to the network pane. No messages. Isn't my stuff supposed to be here? Request. Ah, WebSocket panel, that's where we are. Yeah. Oh boy, timing, stack trace. Man, now we've lost the... I've lost the messages from the back end too. Yeah, this is it. Response, here we go. Okay, so now we should see a little green arrow going up, I'm pretty sure. Oh, hey, nice. Okay, so we sent it. We got nothing on the back end to catch it, but we did send it. Okay, that's great. Boink, 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 boink. Alright, that's fun. Cool, so we're sending it, but we got nothing to catch it, right? So now we need to figure out how to catch it. Oh, that's gonna be a... it's gonna be like a... It's gonna be another trip to the docks, isn't it? Channel sockets, receive function. We're using this anywhere. Or not. We defined it, but we haven't used it. Alright, so, how do we use it, man? Nary an example, but I would bet you that we can probably copy whatever we have on the front end, and that'll be more or less, if not exactly what we need on the back end. Now we need handlers, handled events, event message handler. I think we need to play around in there. Events, logger. Okay. So we started and stopped a router. We're starting a router on that channel, on that receiving channel. And that's the callback. So are we doing the same thing on the back end? Make channel socket server. Channel receive function. It's not super example. I think this is something you copy from an example project. This is not apparent how you would do this on the back end just yet. All right. So we're using this guy's code. Thank you, David. Multiplayer blackjack with documented source code. Sounds like a likely bet. CLJC. The only one was probably in here. Game specific non-Tableau related functions. Alright, so that's just the game code, but this is going to be where our WebSockets stuff is located. Okay, so for that. Okay, start the router. Are we doing that? No. Stop web server. Stop and start the router while storing the router stop function in the router atom. Okay. So that looks identical to what we had on the front end. It's using the HTTP kit, so that's good. It's using the same HTTP library that we were using. And now, start example broadcaster. Make channel socket server. Are we using that? Make channel socket server. They are not. Yeah, so I guess like starting the router has already been handled for us, and now we just need to figure out how to do this part, but without calling that function start socket channel router. Make socket channel server. Don't need that anymore. Oh, back to the API. Back to the API. Make channel socket server. Takes a web server adapter and returns a map with keys. Send function to receive messages. Start channel socket router, platform specific alias for start server socket channel router. Please see appropriately AST function docstring for details. Start server channel socket router. Creates a simple go loop to call this and log any errors. Returns a stop function. Note that advanced users may prefer to just write their own loop against channel receive. I didn't think I want to do that. Yeah, so maybe I'll just copy that code in that case. Kind of seems like what we want to do. Start router, start web server, start web server. What is this? Okay, so it stops the web server if it's running. It starts a ring server on port 3000. Yes, that's where I don't get it, because like start router and start the web server. Well, the router and the web server are different entities, I guess, treated differently. So, what the hell, man? Let's just copy paste this in. The absolute worst case scenario is that it doesn't work. Stop router. Stop F at router. At router. Oh boy. Okay. So we have the router. We have everything this function needs. Called stop function when there is one saved in this router. Reset the router to this. Alright, event message handler. And our event message handler event message handler and stuff, print line stuff. I think I used that right. Start example broadcaster. Or now we want to start router. Is it started? Will it work? Let's find out. Oh man, almost time to start cleaning up our workspace here. I'm getting confused. Alright, here is our socket connection. We can send a message. Yep. Did we get the message on the back end? Oh, hey. Oh, I think we got it. Oh, we're logging a whole bunch of extra stuff, but I think we got it, man. Potato Mage says, good morning. How goes? Hey, it's going well, man. Thank you. Thanks for joining the stream. I think we're just about to have a breakthrough here. I think we've almost received a WebSocket message from the front end. What was this thing in our example that we're cribbing from? Keys, events. Yeah, we just want the event of the ID. So instead of logging absolutely everything, what we want to do is we want to do this like keys thing. The event in the ID. Print line, ID events. Let's get that into the REPL. Let's send another message and let's see if we get what we want. Start router. And still getting the stop router. Start router. Don't really need to broadcast right now. We just need to receive a message. And we're not getting it. So print line. Do we chooch? Start router. All right. Oh, hey, hey, we got it. We got it. Awesome. So there's some request ID and there's our data. The events. There's something called data in there, right? Yeah, we logged the whole event, but really what we want to do is log the data. Yeah, this one right here. Now that I've done what I'm trying to do, it's a good opportunity to figure out how to like just add this thing to the REPL. Do I just like... Oh, I don't want dictation, thank you. Alright, so now I think that means that we've added this new function to the REPL, which means that we can go back here, send some more messages, and we're still getting the same thing. This is what I don't get. Like, I want to write a new function, and I want to just kind of like get it into the REPL and like kind of replace whatever I had like loaded previously. So I'm trying to like CE. Okay, so that copies that in there. And now I'm going to evaluate it. And then I can do like, jeez. And then if I pass it like data hi ID hello, what I would expect. Hi, hello. Yeah, that's what I want. Or am I like getting the data anyway? Line data. Data print line ID. Okay. Into the REPL evaluate the function, go to the front end, send a couple messages, and now I'm getting that same function call from before. So how do I do this? Just load the whole thing in. And now we've broken it. That's okay. Maybe if we just stop this. Start it once more. This seems really different. Is Clojure all built around these REPL-driven workflows? Yes, it is. Yeah, that's kind of like the big part of the language where you got this like interactive REPL where you can like you can like load the code, start the code, and then you can also like call the code from the REPL. But the thing you're supposed to be able to do, and the thing which I'm not quite like able to like kind of get through just yet, is you're supposed to be able to like, you know, take a function, like, you know, write it, redefine it, add it into like your REPL session, and then like work with it there. So it's supposed to be this like very interactive like thing where you're like running your program in your REPL and you're also like making changes to the code, you know, getting that into your REPL session and then like seeing how it changes. So that's like the ideal state that you're supposed to get into. And yeah, that makes it like really easy to, you know, see what your functions are doing, see what data is coming in. It's supposed to make it really simple to like just debug and like program in general. But being that this is my third week of like using Clojure every day, I'm not like super comfortable with it just yet, but once I get there, it should start to deliver all those benefits to me. I just need to get there in the first place. Yeah, no, that's neat stuff. There's like a talk. Is that on YouTube? REPL-driven development. Which one did I watch? Like ludicrous speed. Yeah, it was this one. Copy link. That is extremely vicious. Kudos. Yeah, this is like a decent video on REPL-driven development by this guy who like kind of takes you through it. So I eventually want to get to the point that guy gets to, but not quite there yet. Yeah, I appreciate the kudos on the ambition. Yeah, it's gonna be a ride, but I've already got a lot faster with Clojure, and I'm already starting to like see the benefits of using the language. So even though I'm brand new to it, I think it's going to start paying dividends relatively soon here once I make it past the growing pains. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for joining, man. Hope that video is enlightening, and I hope I can get this to work soon. Let's get back to what we're trying to do. So I know how to load namespace. If I load this namespace into the REPL, let's get take a while to evaluate, and it's going to start all my stuff. Did we start? Yeah, okay, cool. So now I've got that. And now I'm seeing that all this like example broadcaster stuff is like being called in our main function. So I wonder if I could just like sockets. Oh no, it's gonna be a different function, isn't it? Start router. That's it. Socket start router. Okay, so that's presumably going to start the router function, which can receive. Yeah, no, I've already solved this problem, right? It's going to start it. What we were trying to do was cool. What we were trying to do is like destructure the messages that we're sending from the front end. Connection closed. Let's open it. All right, so we're receiving data. We can send data. And now are we logging the right stuff? Unhandled events. Tart router, not start router. Oh boy. Okay. One more time. There we go. Back to the browser. We know we can send them, but let's verify anyway. Okay. Back here. All right, this is what I'm trying to do. So the data is this closure map, and we have the ID. So yeah, we've completed the round trip. Let's get back to our list of tasks for the day. Great. Okay, so we got the WebSocket reagent example running again. We removed all the reframe stuff that we don't need. That was confusing us. And we've sent a custom message from the back end to the front end. And now we just completed the round trip of sending a message from the front end to the back end. So yeah, we've basically got what we need to keep going with this. All right. Now where do we go from here? So boy, I haven't even gotten this far in my thinking because I've been so incredibly stuck on this for so long. Yeah, right. So I think we need to do a few things. I think we need to like figure out what this UUID thing is doing. So we've got like connected UIDs, connected unique IDs. So that comes from unique IDs, which comes from connected UIDs. So this is supposed to represent all the people who are connected on a WebSocket channel, I think. And so basically what we're going to have is like the game. And each game is going to have like a 4-letter code, so like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And people are going to connect to the game with that code. So let's say your unique ID is 01, 02, 03. Put a little person icon here to represent what's going on, and little pictorial representation of what's going on here. So one thing I did not consider with this new camera is the fact that we have to focus. Okay, so right, we got this game, and each game is going to have like a set of like unique IDs. So that's going to be like a 4-letter thing, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, just going to be like a randomly generated thing. And based on that game code, that's how you're going to connect to the game. So here we got people with like user ID 1, 2, 3, and these two want to go to this game. This one wants to go to that game. So yeah, I assume that you just get like a unique ID when you connect. But when we print line user tau since, yeah, so this is what's going on here. We're like trying to print line the unique IDs, but it's coming back as nil, which is kind of weird. So I think we need to figure out what's going on here, and then once we can like identify users, we can like assign them to a game. So fix the nil UID problem to identify connected clients. Cool. This is where we're going next. Back to the docs. Okay. Oh, so like energized. This was so hard last week and it went so poorly, but now it's working. Ah, man. Massive respect to this guy for like writing this massive feature-rich library, but man, for someone coming to WebSockets brand new for the first time, and for someone who is not that familiar with Clojure, it's like not easy to figure out what's going on here. Launchable read-only atom. I think that must be... Well, I was hoping that was a problem, because every time you're using an atom, which is like a piece of like variable Clojure state that you can, you know, kind of update as though it were like a React hook or something. That's like the closest equivalent I can think of. Use that @ sign. So initially I thought our problem was we're not using @ to access the value of the atom, but that's not what's going on. Star example broadcaster. Yeah, let's just like print line and connect. Well, hold on a second. So theoretically, with this like whole REPL driven thing, you can actually use the REPL to evaluate the value of like atoms and stuff, like as the program is running. So theoretically, we should be able to say like @ connected IDs and get the list back. Print line @ connected unique IDs. Okay, so we know it's not nil. It's like a map with some properties on it, but I was very curious is that well, we appear to be like connected to the WebSocket server and like both sending and receiving messages from it. We do not have a user ID associated with our client. So is that something that's a problem on the server, or is it something that's a problem on the client? So if it's something that the client has to send, well, does that make any sense? Nah, it seems like that's something the server would give you, because like, say you had like two random clients who didn't know anything about each other, and they both chose the same random like unique ID to send to the WebSocket server, they would have a collision, as they say. So it's something that must happen on the server side. Yep, exactly. User ID provided by the server on handshake or nil. Once the user ID provided to the server user push function. For the server to push events, we need a destination. Traditionally, we might push to a client, but with modern rich web applications and yada yada yada, the value of a client push is diminishing. You'll often see applications, even by Google, struggling to deal with these cases. Cent offers an out-of-the-box solution by putting the concept of identity one level higher and dealing with unique users rather than clients. What constitutes a user is entirely at the discretion of each application. To give a user an identity, either set the user's UID ring session key or supply a user ID function. Takes a request, returns an identity string to the make channel socket constructor. Make channel socket server. So we're not using that function. We're using this like server adapter. But we probably have to pass this to something somewhere. I gotta figure that function probably calls this function. So if we go back to the API docs and we look at the args, geez. Call this a closure format. Nope. Right. User ID function. Potato Mage says, "Hey, I've got to run. Thanks for helping me procrastinate starting work and good luck." Focus. Yeah, man, it's good to have you along. Yeah, procrastination's good. Hope it was what you need to get your cake in to start the day. But yeah, I hope to see you later, man. Enjoy yourself. User ID function. Is there any other reference made to this anywhere else? Unique user ID for the server to the user push. Function that takes a ring request. Connected unique IDs. Alright, login. Login method sets the username, no real login, just associate the username with the WebSocket. Later on, this user ID will be used to send messages to one client only. Alright, perfect. That's exactly what we want. So where would we call this? Multiplayer Snake game with a screencast walkthrough. That sounds really nice. Okay, so Yeah, this seems to be a function that's called in response to someone like focus logging in to the page. And it seems like it comes from the front end. Right, so it's like login, and then it's like, what's my user ID? That's like the query string. So that comes along from the front end, and then role user ID. Yeah, maybe set player name. That's going to be in our blackjack module, which is one level up. Yeah, it's looking like a lot of this comes from like server session data. So, this kind of implies like a user system already, right? So like you specify your name, you log in, there's like a ring server with some kind of like session setup, which is designed to keep track of like who's logged in, and then the ring server session is the thing that supplies the user ID to sent, and then that's the unique user ID that it uses to determine who to send a socket message to. So yeah, I think that would involve like getting into like ring session stuff. Is there anything here? Start web server. Web server will serve our HTML pages, provide logout and session management, and manage WebSocket-based async channels. So I kind of know like generally what a session is. I've never used like session-based authentication before, so this is server ports stop function. Stop first was already running. Store the server info in the web server atom. So I suspect the web server atom would have our session information. Yeah, it's interesting. So I guess like a session just comes along as a matter of course from HTTP kits. Minimalist event-driven thingy. Yeah, so we got a half hour. Typically I'd stop these streams at like 12 p.m. Eastern. So I think a good stopping point is to figure out how to changelog API documentation. Server session. And compliance. Sessions in ring servers ring sessions. A sessions work in ring. So there is middleware, but I suspect HTTP kit sessions closure. It's a bit of a crapshoot googling closure problems, but hopefully. Hopefully something comes up. Must include sessions, building a REST API and closure. Read the rest of this story with a free account. Read the rest of this story in reader mode. Alright, session. Site defaults. Site defaults add support for parameters, cookies, sessions, static resources. Cool. Yes, that comes along with site defaults, and I think it's going to be here. Server. And once you know it, we're already there. Okay, so main ring handler, site defaults. Now we need to figure out how to get access to the session information, because your session is going to be your ID. Site defaults. To do restrict origin. Very good idea. Wrap defaults, site defaults. Man, wasn't there like a due to closure? Evaluates X, then calls out the methods and functions with the value of X applied in front of the given arguments. Tap function, threading, closure. Debug macro for threading macros using tap. Add tab, add to debug. Oh, so we, right. Cool. Sends X to any taps when I block. I need to call this or just like put it in the middle. If we do like add debug, what was that? Oh, hey. You're uncredited true, multi-part true. Yes, that's the sessions. Yes, that's the config. So anyway, we know what we already know. Site defaults will add session information, but how do we get the session out? I guess we get it from the request. Router. So with a get or a post. That's how we do the handshake. To get session information from WebSockets. Use session data on a WebSocket handshake. Accessing the HTTP session in a WebSocket endpoint. So that's a Java thing, so that's close. HTTP only cookies as well as secure cookies work fine with WebSockets. WebSocket node. Nope. Request, the response, main.js. WebSocket accept, server, content length. Client ID, hello. Client ID. I've seen that before. Start WebSocket stuff, which is in client. Create a client, start the router. Right. Type hacker, protocol, host, port. Make channel socket clients. State launchable read-only atom. Type open UID CSRF token. And watch states def channel socket. Oh, I already got it. Now, where did this come from, though? Yeah, resets states state. Yeah. Load into the REPL. What are you? No available JS runtime. String, what is the states? Because it's an add-on, we need that. All right. So let's go back here. Oh boy, we've really broke stuff, I think. Okay, server. Oh wait, no, it's main. Load main file in. Call main function. All right, running in port 5000, which means we should be sending messages to the clients. Which means we should be logging what the state is. Object. Right, so it's like it's like a map with the following keys. So really what we want to do is like log all this. Keys, function closure. Turns the sequence of the map's keys in the same order. Maybe values. TRPal says use console log instead of print. Oh yeah, JS console log. I'm forgetting that, aren't I? See what it is in the JS objects. Right. Yeah, but I always forgetting that you can do JS console log. Channel sockets state. So if we load that in. All right. I was also going to try this. Keys function. Keys, I assume there's also a values. Saber Chicky. That's funny. I've never seen that before. Vowels. Keys and vowels. So, just for gas. Alright, so load that in. We'll refresh. Object is not iSeekable. Right, yeah, here we go. Right, that was our JS console log, I believe. Open, ever open, CSRF token, unique ID. And namespace null, CSRF token. What we're seeing is the keys first and then the values, I believe. No. Alright, we're not even getting these. State. Alright, back to the browser. Look at these hash things. Which I don't think are related to the values at all. I'm not seeing a value for this thing. So maybe if I did like, if we go back here, this atom is supposed to have like the UID key. So if we do like UID channel socket state, then we should get it. State. UID object state. Man, this is intense. So we tried to destructure that UID from the state atom. We kind of got it, but I've got no idea what I'm looking at here. So, does it have a value? Is it the value we expect? Given that we don't have a UID on the back, and I feel like we don't have what we need right now in the state itself. JS console log state. Well, anyway, I'm feeling a little bit stuck, and we're coming close to quitting time anyway, so I think if I just like stand up and walk away from this, then I can come back to it earlier in the afternoon and yeah, maybe make a little more progress here. So I think that'll be it for the day, but yeah, before we go, yeah, didn't fix this, but we got some major progress taken care of. So we got WebSockets to like work in the first place, which is a big accomplishment, and yeah, that's exactly what we need when we progress farther into like actually making this game work. Connections from the clients to the front end to the back end, and vice versa. So anyway, we'll stop it there. Thanks for joining me, everybody. T-Pal says need to call UID at Atom. They just print a map with the key. Not sure what's up with the logging stuff. Looks unreadable. Yeah, I think I was trying that, right? Like, back to the clients. Yeah, I was trying to like access the UID in the channel socket state, so I don't think that was something I was able to do or anything like that. But anyway, we'll figure it out later. Anyway, we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for watching me struggle through this, and hope to see you again soon. So, yep, see you later.